I'm standing just inside the Arkansas line. You can see there it is. Where is it? Actually, it's way down there. Way over there is the Oklahoma line. That's the sign for the Arkansas line. That's the sign for the Oklahoma line. Arkansas, Oklahoma. I'm right on the state line, and I'm looking at this nice old structure. Probably at least 150 years old. This would be a frontier structure. Arkansas would be the last place that you would come from civilization into what would be considered the no man's land of Oklahoma. This would be Bates, Arkansas. Very nice. Old structure. So, this is an old structure from the Old West, about 150 years old or more. Very cool. This would have been a real frontier home or building. This is the Poteau River, not the Poteau River. Cohen Brothers, Poteau. That means, it's a French word for post. It used to be a French trapping area, trading area. Fixing to cross the Poteau River. In True Grit, that's where they crossed the Poteau. But it's actually the Poteau. Cohen Brothers. Old days when True Grit was the True Grit times were happening in the Old West. Many times the lawmen were just as bad, if not worse, than the outlaws themselves. And many times they were judge, jury, and executioners all. Peter Concert was one. He was a sign of the times. He protected his people, he protected the land. So here we are at Peter Concert's house. My grandmother was sitting in the front yard being babysit by Ada, which is her youngest daughter. Yeah, Ada. And she was being babysit. I think she went 4 or 5 years old, 6, whatever it was. And a guy comes riding by, and he has a wagon with 2 mares, and he's leading another horse behind him. He goes down this road down the other side of this road, and he didn't know who he was. And Peter Concert, he goes, I'll be back. And he gets on his horse and he follows him back down. And after a while, he hears some gunshots, and Peter comes back with the wagon, the horses, and everything else. And the wagon, he burns it down here on the front yard. Everything puts all, he takes a tack, and he burns it, and he puts the 2 mares inside. And the horse that was being led by on the wagon wasn't with him. And so, come to find out later, was Peter went down there and killed the guy, cut the horse open, and stuck it inside the horse for the rod. And the bones would mix in, and got all the guy's stuff, whatever he had. And basically, that's what happened. My great-grandmother witnessed that happening, and then there's other stories about taking people out in the mountains, and they're coming back, settlers. And his main law, or what his jurisdiction was when he first started out, was to get rid of all the white people in this area.
Well, he was actually half white himself.
Yeah, but that was what there weren't any supposed to what was called intruders in the Intruder Act.
He was a white portion of it, though.
And it was to get rid of all the white intruders that came into this area. They didn't do that though, because some of my people were white, my family that lived here, and they married into the Choctaw Nation. I'm standing on the location of where the Peter Concert, after he killed the man that came down the lane that wasn't supposed to be here. He was a white man. After he killed him and put him in, stuffed him inside the horse, he brought the carriage back here, or this wagon, and he stripped the horses off of it, the tack off of it, and he burned the wagon in this spot right here where I'm standing on. standing in front of the barn that was built by Peter Conser and his people. As a matter of fact, this is kind of a replica of the Brogo mare that he stole off that man after he killed him. He had two of them, and he stripped all the tack off of it. As you can see, this is what's called tack, harnesses, whatever you may have. He stripped them off and brought them in here, and then burned the wagon out there. This is a buggy. This is the original building. This is the side saddle. This is for women, or panty waist. Men who wore panties are for side saddle, basically. We've got a lot of tack in here. We've got some farming utensils inside. I have a little mill right over there. Corn cob for corn and all that. Stirrups. You got a shot of this, didn't you? Yeah, side saddle. Have a loft. Up here above us is a wagon, a buckboard. This is a buckboard. I just need to drop down on his carriage. We have initials of Peter Conser that he carved into this wall. PC, Peter Conser. This is from the old man himself. He died in 1934. Now, Peter's original name was Peter Consoin, but nobody could say Peter Consoin, so he changed it to Peter Conser. They could say Peter Conser, but not Peter Consoin. Where I'm sitting at right now is I'm sitting on the old Outlaw Trail that run along the Winding Stair Mountains. You had two Outlaw Trails, both of them went into Arkansas, but one of them was on one side of the Winding Stair Mountains and the other one was on the other side of Winding Stair Mountains, in between Winding Stair and the Conocochees. And that's where we're at right now. We're at Muse, or right down the road from Muse, and back down this way it was the old Outlaw Trail. If you can see back down that way, there's a road there now that goes into Arkansas. This is where all your outlaws used to come in, and they would ride in this way and across the mountain over there to ride into the Indian Territory and hide. Behind me is the Winding Stair Mountains. This is the mountain range that Lucky Ned Pepper was shot at in the book True Grit, and also in the motion pictures. That is the original Winding Stair Mountains behind me. Alright, we're driving up in the Winding Stair Mountains. We're on our True Grit quest. And this is where Marshal Rooster Cogburn shot Lucky Ned Pepper in his lips, according to the book and the movies. And we're basically pretty close to Horse Thief Spring, which Horse Thief Springs is where all the robbers and the horse thieves and all that would bring their horses and their loot, and they would stash it, and that's where they lived at. So it's much like the Rooster Cogburn movies, where the outlaws hid out up in the mountains. This is where they would have been at, and they actually hid at this what's called the Horse Thief Springs. That's us. That's our True Grit bit. We'll see you next time. We're in southeast Oklahoma, right behind us are the Winding Stair Mountains, and the Poteau River is right over there, not the Poteau Cohen brothers. I'm Jackson Burns, the Redneck Archaeologist, signing off.